In this video, I'm going to show you how to construct the special S-wrench from your text. The S-wrench has an OG curve in it, which is in your chapter 4 reading, but I'm going to help you with the construction. And we'll just start off at the left side of the object. I think what I'll do is use the polygon command to create those two squares that you see. The dimension is a square dimension of 32, which indicates that each side of the square has a length of 32. So let's go ahead and use the polygon command for that. POL, enter. Number of sides, 4, enter. And I'll just select anywhere, really, for the center of my squares. Now, since we're given the width across the flat edges of this polygon, let's use the circumscribed about a circle option. Okay. And now the radius of the circle will be 16, which is half of 32, so I'll just type in 16 and then enter. And you can tell that it has rotated it 45 degrees from where it should be. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on rotating it. Now, since this is the first object in the sketch, I can use any object as any point as a base point, but I'll type in RO for rotate and then enter, and I'll select this object and then enter. And like I said, I can pick any base point, but I'll just pick a corner, and it really doesn't matter if I pick 45 as a positive angle or a negative angle, because I just need to rotate it 45 degrees in either direction. So I'll type 45 and then enter. Okay, and now we have the orientation that we need. So let's use the offset command to get that 6 dimension that you see. O, enter, 6, enter, and offset it to the inside. Okay, so let's switch to our construction layer, and from the center of these two squares, I'm going to draw a line out to the right, and I think I'll just go ahead and create a circle in here while I'm at it on my construction layer. So I'm going to find the midpoint of these two polygons by drawing a line from corner to corner. Okay, and then I find my midpoint of my line, and then I can just go to the midpoint of any of the outside lines and create a circle. Okay, I apologize for that. I need to enter the circle command. I was still in the line command. Okay, so there's my circle, and I'm going to use that probably later on, so just wanted to go ahead and create it. And I'll erase that line, and then from the center of my circle, I'm going to draw a line to the right by a distance of 160, and make sure that it's horizontal, and then I'll draw a vertical line down by 52. Okay, and I have located the center point of the pentagon, the two pentagons. Okay, so let's draw those. And but before we do, let's go ahead and create a circle on the construction layer with a diameter of 44. So do that now, and now I'll go to my visible layer. Let's check that diameter to make sure it's right. Okay, so let's enter the polygon command again. This time we have 5 sides, and then so enter. And now the center of the polygon will be here, and we're going to use an inscribed in the circle, since we're given we're actually given a circle in this case. Okay, we're given a distance across corners. Okay, so inscribed in circle, and the radius of the circle I can just pull out. I don't actually have to define the radius by typing it in. I want to snap to my left quadrant point so I can orient this properly. Okay, and now this line is straight up and down, which is what we want. Okay, so let's use the offset command again to offset the pentagon in by 6. So 6, enter. Okay, so we've created our two pairs of polygons on each side, and so now let's work on the OG curve. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my construction layer, and I'm just going to draw a line from the corner here to the end point of the polygon here. Okay, and I'm just duplicating what's in the text. You can see that the radius of the two curves, which have a radius of r, um, that's where the radius of these arcs begin, okay, is at these points, okay, and they meet at the point of inflection here, which is where it changes from one arc to the other, okay, and and both of these arcs have the same radius, okay, so we have to create this OG curve in such a way that both of these arcs have the same radius. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to draw a vertical line down from here. Doesn't matter the length. I'm going to draw a vertical line up from here. Oh, let's try that again. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, and now I'm going to use the divide command to divide this line up into 4 equal segments. So I'm going to type divide, enter, and I want to select this line and then enter 4 for the number of segments. Okay, now when I do that, nothing happens. Okay, you can't see anything. That's because I need to define my point type. So I'm going to use the DDP type command, and I want to choose a point style that I like that will show up well for me. And I like this one. That's just personal preference. I'll leave the point size at 5%, set size relative to screen, and then OK. And now this line, it's not physically divided, but the points indicate where the divisions are that would allow me to divide this into 4 equal segments. Okay, so at this point, by the way, this is the point of inflection. Okay, this is where one arc joins the other. It's right here in the middle. But at this point, I'm going to draw a line, L, enter. And I want the beginning of this line to be perpendicular to this angled line we just created. PER, enter. And I will just left click when I see the deferred perpendicular snap. Okay, and then just pull it out. And you want it to be long enough where it will cross this vertical line, but the actual length, as long as it's long enough where it will cross, the actual length doesn't matter. Okay. Once you've done that, move this line from the endpoint. Make sure you're using the endpoint snap, and make sure that you have your node snap turned on, and move it to the node. Okay, and then we want to do the same thing over here. So perpendicular line, and then I want to move it to this node. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a couple of intersection points. Okay, now I want to go ahead and turn on my center layer, because what we're about to create is actually going to be the center line of the OG curve. So C, enter, and the center point of the circle needs to be at the intersection, and then the other point will be at the polygon. Same thing over here. Make sure that you snap to the intersection and then go to the end of the polygon. Okay, and you can see that these two circles, they both have the same radius, okay, and they meet at this point, which is exactly what our construction allowed us to do. So let me turn off the construction layer, and let's do a little trimming. So TR, enter, and let's cut out what we don't need here. And we may need to do an erase operation or two to make sure that this is all trimmed properly. And I don't see any, I don't see any remnants. I'm having a hard time erasing these. Okay, so just make sure that you don't have any leftover arc segments. Okay, and that's our OG curve. Okay, now let's use the offset command to find the width of the OG curve, and the total width is 22, so let's offset in each direction by 11. See? So let me offset, and then offset to the lower side, and then highlight these lines or arcs and change them to the visible layer. Okay, so now we have these radius 12 arcs that we need to create. Okay, and we can use circle, tan radius for those. So let me switch back to my visible layer, and so I'll type C, enter, T, enter for the tan radius, and so I need to define the tangent, and a radius of 12.